Welcome everyone. Adam the Woo here. As the recording of this, it is Tuesday, June the 24th, 2025. I am back in Amsterdam. Earlier this morning, took a train up from the region of Efteling theme park that I attended yesterday. Was in a hotel there last night until this morning. Took the train up here, back at the hotel I've had this whole week. And I'm going to do some Amsterdam things today. The weather is dramatically different than it was when I left a couple days ago from this area to head south and now back up. Got a little hoodie on, see where the day leads. Just going to roam around, see what I can find, maybe hit a museum or two, and just see what Amsterdam on this day has to offer. Also, was lucky enough to be able to get back up here because there's a huge power outage from an outlet, probably not from an outlet, a power outage, and a lot of the trains were not running, but my train thankfully was, and I was able to get back up here. So I'm grateful for that. All right, see what Amsterdam can bestow upon myself and you, because I'm inviting you, yes you, to join me. Good to have you here. Shall you? Current time, 2:25 p.m., 67 degrees, cloudy conditions expected until 8. Very windy. That's pretty much what it's showing there. Just wind all day. 67. Gonna get to 71 at 6 p.m. But I really enjoy this overcastness, cloudiness, non-sun, and a little windy gust. Yeah, give me a light hoodie and a little chill in the air. Not cold, but just a little chill, and I am content as heck. Old Amsterdam cheese store has a huge cheese. This is a big, look at this big, oh, this thing's sliding. Oh my gosh, I'm knocking it over. Oh, I feel like I'm on candid camera or something. Look, there's actually cheese in there. I was gonna grab it to see what it was. It's not a real piece of cheese. It's just like it's like styrofoam, very light styrofoam wrapped in something. But that thing tilted there. Sorry, old Amsterdam Cheese Company. My apologies. It is nice and windy. You know, I've never fact-checked this, but I've always heard that when it comes to say cheese, when people say, you know, smile for the camera, say cheese, because I guess where that terminology originated, cheese was like such a delicacy that it was rare to have cheese. So when you would tell people, say cheese, that was their happy thought, so they would smile. And the terminology, cutting the cheese, I can't speak on that. I mean, I've cut the cheese, but I don't know where that came from. It's inside this former bank, which is now a Starbucks, and I must say, this is the best cursive penmanship I've ever had on a cup that had my name written on it. In fact, I don't think anyone's ever written on a Starbucks cup, at least given to me, written in cursive, in that penmanship before. So, cheers to the barista in Amsterdam. Nice. I like that. Makes me happy. Look at that. Cursive. Well, kind of cursive-y. There's something going on over here. They got a boom mic and a really nice camera setup. Not every day you see a boom mic on a street. That's a boom mic right there. This whole courtyard is just infested with pigeons. Love the buildings through here. Love the architecture so much. Really never gets old looking at it. Oh, there's another film crew up here. What the heck? There's film crews everywhere. Look.
Hey, your style's here.
A totally different one. I think I might be in there. I think I might be right in their frame. I probably shouldn't be standing here. Another boom mic. Let me get out of their way. Taking photos or something. This guy's gonna throw something. He's got a brick. Is that a real brick? He's gonna throw it in the river. Love this very impressive building here. Looks like a church steeple, but I do not believe it is used by a congregation. Looks almost like a vintage shop or something. For the time being. You can see some glassware in the windows over there. And it's kind of interesting. You have this little walkway underneath a portion of it. It looks like the brickwork back there is newer than the original brickwork, which is here, which is the bell tower. There's like flower shops here along the water too. You can get bulbs from all over the world. Got Amsterdam City Love spray painted on down there. Little nice little artwork on the bottom. You can get all these flowers, like flower shops all along the water here. You can get tulips right over there. You can get little bouquets full of different ones. Gerberas right there. It is just such a great day today. A little more peaceful than the other days I've been here, probably because the weather is not quite as warm and nice. There's less boats out, less people on their bikes. There are a lot of people on their bikes, but it is a little more low-key than it has been. Just a random porta potty over there. If you disregard that, you look at it from this angle, you would never know that porta potty is there. Oh, wait a second, there's another one right over there. Never mind. Still beautiful. All right, I'm now about to head inside this magnificent looking building, the Rijksmuseum. I believe it actually is a longer name. That might be the shortened name. But I'm gonna go inside here. Very impressive clock tower there as well. I walked through this the other day, but this is the first time I'm gonna be going inside the actual building. I made it inside. Price was €25. And after entering in, I got this floor plan highlight booklet, which has a guide map on it. It's going to show some of the different floors. I guess there's 3 different floors. Well, a total of 4. First floor would be floor 0. There's a lot to look at. There's some Van Goghs. Even the self-portrait of Van Gogh is just right here in front of my face. Look at that. That's amazing. Just right there. Painted by the man himself. Self-portrait. Isaac Israels. This is George Breitner's work. Passed away in 1923. You just look at the streets of Amsterdam there, same buildings and everything from way back then. That's his interpretation. In fact, that might even be an interpretation. He may have actually stood on that bridge with his easel and painted that for a long period of time. The tea urn back to 1850s. A little jewelry casket right there. That's dating back to 1860. This tremendous size piece right here. Back in 1806, Louis Napoleon made Amsterdam the capital of his kingdom on July 31st of that year, 1806. The convoy was headed by this banner, which translated to Louis Napoleon, King of Holland, presents to his capital Amsterdam these trophies. This is a model, and I use that word model loosely because this is huge, of the William Rex, ship that sailed in the 17th century. Look at the detail on this thing. I like this room. Also, look at this right up here on the wall. The horse and it's like a tiger on the other side. A dollhouse. This is a portrait of William III, passed on in 1706. Amongst some of the china and possibly his bed frame over here. I'll get a little more info on that in a second, but I really like this photo, this paint, well, not a photo, it's a painting of him with a candle there. I like it. I think the candle just kind of adds to the vibe of this thing. Kind of eerie looking in a way. Mystical. What's the word I'm looking for? It gives it an ambiance. All right, the bed dates back to the 1720s, and it may have been made for Jonathan Werner. No confirmation, though, if Jonathan Werner ever slumbered in this. I don't even know who Jonathan Werner is, but right, Rembrandt's Night Watch, largest and most famous painting by Rembrandt. It's behind this glass. This is as close as you can get. There's a recreation in the next room, but this is the real deal. one of his original pieces. The Jewish Bride is the title of it. There's a section where stained glass windows also. This airplane up here, this is an FK-23 or K-123 on the side. This is up on the 3rd floor. This is a pretty big museum. Mostly just works of art, but there are some other things too. If you're into very antique furniture, this zigzag chair here. There's a lot of pieces of old furniture, all different designs. There's the zigzag chair. Here's a different version of that same chair. This is called a low bugle chair, bow chair. Stepping outside, there is like a little hedge maze down here. You see right down there. Water fountain there as well. This is around the opposite side of where I walked in. This where the bikes all just kind of go through here. It's like the dodging of the bikes, motorcycles, bikes. I don't know who would have the right of way in that situation. Yeah. It's amazing less people don't careen into each other. Everyone seems to have it has it down pretty well though. They use their hands for turn signals. I feel like they're way more organized riding bikes here than they are in the US. They got it down to a science. Somebody just walked in front of that guy. You know, I will say it's beautiful as it is walking around the streets of Amsterdam. There's really not a comfort factor. You always feel like someone's going to run into you with a bike because the walkways are so small when you're walking on the cobblestone and the brick that you're kind of like always, you know, your shoulder or part of your body is kind of always leaning towards the streets, and you never really feel, and when you're crossing a road, if bikes are going so quickly, they never really feel as if you're at ease. There's just like a slight uneasiness when you're walking. It makes it kind of exciting. So there is a houseboat museum that is open over here. It says open. It is a houseboat. There's a lot of these along the river. But this one has opened its doors to guests to go on. So I'm going to see if I can get on there. The Hendrik A. Maria is what I can tell what it sounds like from here.
Wacht even. Je hebt gelijk.
This is what I'm talking about. See, when you're trying to walk across, see how fast the bikes are going. Motorcycles, mopeds, bikes, Vespas, automobiles, tiny cars, people walking, people jogging. It really is very fluid. It creates like a kinetic energy. So this is the houseboat. I'm not sure if I had to purchase tickets ahead of time or if I could just show up and see if I can get on. It says daily open this week. The Hendrika Maria, 1914 dated. Come inside, open 10 to 5, 1700 hours. €9.50. Oh, look at that. It's like a little paddle boat. You can do it the old-fashioned way. I'm now on the boat. There's a person at the front up there that's supposed to take your money, but they're not there at the moment, so as soon as they arrive, I'll pay them the €9.50 and walk through the rest of it. I've got the sound effects going on over here with the coffee and the stove and everything. I am now in, and this is some information about the boat people of Amsterdam and how there's quite a few people who live on boats. And it shows a layout of the land for houseboats in the city and all the different canals and rivers through here. Yeah, the river is right there. It just sits right across, right on top of the water, I should say. There's like a miniature. Oh, here we go. The Hendrika Maria, her history brought to light. Started back in 1914, right here. It was built and put to water at the J. Hendricks shipyard. How deep is the water here? Okay, that shows the correlation. So right up near the shore where the bikes and cars and people walk is, it's that deep. Then it gets down to about that far, but really not as deep as I would have thought it would have been. This is showing where the water line is, the other side of the wall. Has a very retro vibe. Kitchen, I like how the kitchen was all decked in orange and has a little vintage feel to it. Not only the kitchen, but the living room. Originally built in started building in 1914, and it's still here, just sitting along the river. I don't think anyone even lives anymore. I think it's just used as, you know, like a money-making opportunity if people get a little information and step inside without having to go in someone's private boat home. You can just walk up, pay less than €10, and just take a little stroll through it. And that's it. That's the boat right there, the Houseboat Museum. Right here along the river. There's a bunch of houseboats. Not all of them are museums, but this one is. This one is. Just seems like most of these, they don't even move. They just sit, people just live in them and they just stay here. I don't know how you have to pay rent on this spot, or just once it's parked, you never have to leave. Kind of like an RV. Well, in some places RVs. If you boondocking. Is there boondocking with boats? Maybe. See, a lot of people ride the bikes on the sidewalks too. It's not just people walking. It's also bikes. Scooters. And cars, and bikes, and people walking, and cars, and tinier cars, and mopeds, and people walking, and bikes, and cars, and mopeds, and motorcycles, and dirt bikes. All right, it is now time for my visit to the Anne Frank house. This is the line I need to be in. It was difficult to get a ticket. In fact, I think the only reason I was able to get one for today, you know, I've been here more than a few days. Couldn't get one till today. I think it's just because it's just me rolling solo. I think that was the reason there was one slot left. These are very difficult to get from what I'm gathering. So I'm glad it's working out. So I'm in the next group. And I have heard that there is no filming or photos allowed inside. If there are photos, I'll take some. And if there are videos allowed, I'll take a video. But I've heard that that is something you're not allowed to do inside. So I'm going to probably just experience this without the camera. If no footage makes it in, that's why. But this is something I feel like you have to see when you're in Amsterdam. It's a huge part of history. Diary of Anne Frank, the book. But I believe, so this is a newer building. I think this might have been the original row of the houses. And I think the area that she was at is around the corner here. So this is all newer. I caught the first one. Those are the same bells that she would hear from her annex that she was hiding in. Church right next door. No filming, no photos, but I did get an audio guide. All right, I'll put the camera away and do it on my own. Back outside now. Very grateful to have been able to go inside there. 263 is the address. Prinsengracht, 263 Prinsengracht, which would be this building right here. Spent about an hour inside there. It was the top 2 floors. It was the annex, which is where her family of 4 and 4 others, a total of 8, for 2 years, 42 to 44, just hid out in there. I must admit I've never read the book in its entirety. I've obviously seen a lot of info on it, watched TV specials and seen documentaries, and read some passages from her book, but never read the full thing, and I'm going to change that. In fact, I have purchased the book from the little museum. The audio tour was very, very detailed and informative. Very quiet, even though there was big groups of people up in there. It was very, very quiet. Everyone being very respectful and listening to the audio. I recommend doing the tour if you're in town, if you can get a reservation. They still had the bookcase, the original bookcase that was created to hide the annex stairs. The bookcase was still there, and the ladders up to the attic and everything's all still there, the original woodwork and everything. Two years, imagine that. I think it was July of 42 to August of 44. They had the original kitchen. The kitchen counter was still up there in the main room. Also had the wallpaper on her room, where she was sharing the room with Fritz, I believe his name was. Photo she had on the wall. All that was all the original stuff was still up there. They even had some of her original diary. I guess there were a couple different diaries that they combined, and then some of her short stories made it into the Diary of Anne Frank book later, which has become a bestseller, translated into every known language. Alright, glad I did that. It was very somber in there. Here's a photo of what their place looked like back in the day. Total of 8 people, Anne Frank and 7 others. There's the bookcase there, hiding the door that would go in to the 2 upper levels to the what would become known as the annex. It's really quite the setup now. Kind of makes you think, as horrible the situation was, if she would not have written her words down in the diaries, it would not have become a book, and this history would not have been preserved and known about. Their side of the story and what was happening here in the couple years in the early 40s. Got a little magnet too. A quote from Anne. How wonderful it is that no one has to wait even a minute to start gradually changing the world. It's now 6 o'clock. Bells are ringing. I was in there about an hour. Guy giving a group tour over there as I was filming that. I was listening to what he was saying as I was walking off, and he was kind of reiterating what I was saying about the bells that she would hear from the annex, from the attic. And that was her connection to the outside world, to let them all know that there was other things going on outside. It was the church bell, the cathedral bells ringing. I've been walking around a little bit onto another area of town. Kind of pointed this out over the duration of my time here, how the buildings are kind of slanted. Not falling, but they're definitely slanted and off center a little bit. And nothing is more evident of that fact than showing this. You could see over the years, these two buildings that were side by side have now become detached. And you can see how those over there are leaning as well. Really fascinating how they're still standing. But they're not, I mean, it's completely not 90 degrees anymore. And they've even placed a little center piece of wood going up in the middle there to kind of distract the fact that they're falling like that, or tilting. But evidently still structurally sound. People still live in them. This bridge I'm about to walk over is referred to as the Skinny Bridge. World famous Skinny Bridge. As seen in the James Bond classic Diamonds Are Forever, Sean Connery. Yash! Interesting, I think the last time I was in Vegas, I covered a couple of the Diamonds Are Forever spots. The hotel, gas station where Connery was. They filmed quite a bit of Diamonds Are Forever in Vegas, but they also filmed a little bit of it here in Amsterdam. Now this bridge evidently has been repurposed and changed a lot over the years. It used to be skinnier than this, where it's got its name, the Skinny Bridge. But it's not as skinny as it once was, just like most of us. 007. James Bond. My personal favorite James Bond is Connery. I mean, I like a lot of them, but Connery, I think, takes the cake. He's like the ultimate Bond. Yash! Miss Moneypenny. Yash! I can't really... It's like certain imitations you have to... Like I always have to do the yash! Yash! Whenever I get into Connery mode. And with Arnold, that's right! I have to start off with a, that's right! Yash! To say the other words even remotely correctly. It's like a drawbridge. Ooh, it really kind of adds to it with the sirens. The officer's got his sirens on down there. There it is, the Skinny Bridge. The not so skinny bridge. The not as skinny as it once was bridge. a scene in a 007 film. I was looking up some traditional style Dutch food, or popular foods in Holland, Dutch foods, the Netherlands, here in Amsterdam. And there's something I never heard of before called stamp pot. So I think I'm gonna find myself a stamp pot place. And there's one, I don't know, about a half a mile from here. So I'm gonna walk over there and get some food. This is one of those intersections where you have a couple different canals that connect, a couple of different tunnel areas. And then you have a few different boats that have to make a couple different turn radiuses to get through. Look at that big boat there. Is he making the turn or is he going straight in? He's going straight in. Shouldn't be a problem. It's a dinner cruise. Oh, there's a canoe. And a seagull flying over. And if you're gonna get stamp pot from Amsterdam, maybe you should get it, well, I should get it from an actual place called Stamp Pot Amsterdam. Dutch cuisine. I think I'm gonna get the Stamp Pot sauerkraut right over here for $17.75. So something called snert, traditional Dutch pea soup, and I might also get the bittenballen also, which is an appetizer. Maybe I'll get all three of those. Going with the green tea, which I've already kind of like devoured a little bit because I was a little parched. Also got some pea soup right here. I do love some pea soup. It comes with a piece of rye bread and a slice, or not a slice, but just a slither of bacon right there, uncooked bacon. I don't know if that's cooked or not, but yeah, I do love pea soup. I've had many pea soup in my day, but never had it in Amsterdam, so I'm getting it there. And I got this little appetizer with the mustard. All right, that is what's inside of these little fried circular balls here. Tastes pretty good though. Kind of hard to tell what it is. I probably should have read the menu a little bit better, but with the mustard on it, it kind of all blends together really well. It's pretty good though. Well, so far so good. All right, here's the main entree. I think it was called sauerkraut. Maybe I'm thinking sauerkraut in a different kind of sauerkraut. Either way, you got the sausage on there, you got the potatoes, you got the mashed, whatever it is. I'm going to consume it. Looks really good. It turns out the sauerkraut was mixed in gracefully with the mashed potatoes. It was like disguised in there, but man, the flavor was so good on every single thing I got. Everything, all the items that I got were so good. So good. This place was good. Yeah, they call that Dutch comfort food, and I can see why. That was very comforting and delicious. That was good. I really enjoyed that meal. I think with that, I'm gonna start heading back to my hotel. Call it a night, relax a little bit. Walking amongst all these elephants. And that's gonna do it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video, the vlog. The vlog is over.